Hi there, good evening, welcome to this week's edition of CopaLoadofRacing. We're going to be looking ahead to tomorrow's big day at Newcastle with their big Northumberland Plate day. Of course, racing there tonight, and it's been on ITV4. In fact, the racing there, they've had a bit of success with showing some of the evening racing as they did with the Brigadier Gerard meeting at Sandown back in May. So, as I say, we'll come to that in a minute. I'm actually only just going to focus on the 4 races that are screened on ITV racing tomorrow. There's also racing at Chester, York, Newmarket, Windsor has a meeting. I think Cartmell's racing. They were racing today. I'm sure they're racing tomorrow as well. And there's evening racing at Doncaster and Lingfield. But I'm just focusing on the first 4 races at Newcastle there. In terms of Scottish racing, there's been plenty of action over the past week or so, and more of it to come this week. In fact, the weather has been outstanding, so it's a good opportunity. Like, for example, there on Thursday night, Hamilton had a great Saints and Sinners night. The sun was shining and the racing was top quality as well. And they're going to be back racing on Monday night, which I went to that meeting last year, and it was dry day. It wasn't like the weather's been over the past week or so, but it wasn't one of, I wouldn't say it was very well attended, put it that way, for an evening fixture. But it was a new fixture for the calendar that year. And I remember speaking to the taxi driver who took us from Hamilton West train station along to the course, and they said they were quite surprised actually that there was a meeting on, because usually they would have been busy. So hopefully, because the weather's going to be still nice on Monday, hopefully with the World Cup on, they've made it a football night. So they're going to be whatever game is on that month. I think, is it Brazil that are playing on Monday night? I might be wrong, but whatever game it's on, they're going to be screening it live at the track, and it's a decent card, I'm sure, that will be on offer. They're also racing on Tuesday afternoon, so it's a quick turnaround for the course. Then Wednesday there's racing at Musselburgh. Musselburgh's been back in the news this week. The committee that was looking into what they think should happen at the course has basically said that really it should fall into the hands of someone that really knows what. And it sounds a bit, they're obviously not happy with how things have been run at Musselburgh of late, or the handling of the situation, shall we say. The course has been, in my view, ran very well. I've said that enough on this vlog. And I've said it enough on Twitter and so on and so forth about my admiration for how well that course has picked up over the past 20 years, particularly over the past 10 years. It's a fantastically run racecourse. But there has been, according to what I've been seeing, there's been interest from the likes of the Jockey Club and Arena Racing. Now that would be a big thing for Scottish racing, because all 5 of the tracks in Scotland are independently run. They're run by themselves. There's no big ownership there that runs other racecourses. They all fall under the umbrella of Scottish racing, but that's there to promote the sport in this country, and the 5 tracks work together when they can, and I think that's a great thing. And I would love to still see it having its independence. I think it works really well. I think the Jockey Club racecourses, we all know them. They're all very well run. And it's not that Jockey Club don't have what we would classify as smaller tracks, like the likes of Carlisle, Huntingdon, are all run by the likes of the Jockey Club, as well as bigger courses such as Newmarket, Cheltenham and Haydock and places like that. But I just have my concerns if it was particularly Arena Racing. I would be keen for that to keep it, because it then would be the great thing that's worked with Scottish racing over there is they've all signed up to the deal. They're all RUK tracks, having previously with Perth and Kelso been on ATR, but now a few years back they moved to RUK, so that all 5 of the courses, they felt that it would work better promotion wise, and I think it has. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. What the main thing is that racing continues at Musselburgh, that the people that work there, that there's no job losses or anything like that, which doesn't seem to be the case, but I'm always a bit suspicious if somebody likes the Jockey Club or Arena Racing come in and they try to put down their formula, which they think works, and for me the formula at Musselburgh over the past few years has been one of a great success. But as I say, we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. But they're racing there at Musselburgh, as I say, on Wednesday, and then racing at Perth on Thursday. So plenty of Scottish racing this week, and with the weather looking like it's still going to remain very good in the next week, then it's a good opportunity to get out there and go racing. So back to tomorrow's card at Newcastle. When I looked at the time, I had to double check the times. I thought it was, God, have we jumped into the winter and we're starting National Hunt racing at 12:20. That's not the summer. But obviously with the World Cup and ITV, I think, showing the first game of the round of 16 on Saturday afternoon, it means that they can, instead of chopping and changing as they had to do during Royal Ascot and moving to ITV4 and so on and so forth, they can get racing done before the football kicks off at 3 o'clock. So that means the first race is at 12:20, and some of those hardened Newcastle racecourses, which they are, if they've been there tonight, late finish tonight, it'll be up early tomorrow and off to Newcastle races for an earlier than usual start to Northumberland Plate Day, but we shall see. Anyway, the first race is a 6 furlong handicap, and there's, as you can imagine, there's loads in here, and I was to and throwing about who I was. Shanghai Glory was one that I looked at, but Tim Easterbray is in great form at the moment, and he's got a couple of runners in this race. Davy Allen's on board. Staxton, though, who put in a fair performance last time out at York, will need a strong pace in this race, and he surely should get it in this big field handicap. But if he gets that strong pace to tow him into it, then I think Staxton's got a really good chance. I think around about 7-1 or something at the moment, and should run well in the 12:20. Now the 12:55 is the group race, the Chip Chase Stakes, this Group 3 contest, this Group 3 sprint. And I'm going to pick Yafter, the Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum horse. I backed this a few weeks ago at Newmarket, and he's been running really well for Richard Hannon, and he just failed to get the winner on the line, and just got beat by a short head. So he's in good form. He's coming into this race. It's obviously stepping up into group company, but I think it's worth a go with this horse. It's progressing really well, and it takes to Tapita, then he should be fine, and I think could run well at a decent price. Now moving on to the 130, it's a consolation race for the Northumberland Plate, and Jim Goldie, he's already had a winner tonight at Newcastle with good old Party Fears 2. So Jim's, as I've kept saying, Jim's in really good form, and he's Ookin Glen. Paul Mulrennan he's going to be on board again this tomorrow, and Paul really fancies his chances, even though after that win at Ayr last week, he's obviously got to carry a penalty, but and he's stepping back up in trip. But Jim Goldie seems to always be able to utilise his horses in that way, whether it's sprinters running from 5 to 7 furlongs, or the likes of a Nanton that ran over a mile but could step up to 2 miles when called upon. Auchenglen seems to be in that mold. Maybe not as good as Nanton, granted, but is certainly back into form after that performance at Ayr last week. And I think will go well in the 130 Auchenglen. Now, Jim could get a double up in this card tomorrow, with the consolation race and the actual Northumberland Plate itself, which would be a massive coup for Jim if he could do that. And Sir Chauvelin is his horse that goes into the Northumberland Plate off great form, let's be honest, after that performance at Royal Ascot last Friday. He considering he had to take the long route round to finish second at a big price at 33-1. I think he's now about 14s for the Northumberland Plate, but he certainly cannot be discounted from this. Jim has a great record at Newcastle as well, particularly since they've laid down the tappeta at the course. He sends a lot of his horses down there during the winter, and Sir Chauvelin, after maybe falling out of form for a wee bit, he's been on the go. Let's not forget he was racing over hurdles, won at New Year's Day, I think it was, at Musselburgh. So he's certainly a horse that Jim just keeps campaigning, and he keeps responding when he can. And if he shows anything like the form he showed last week at Ascot, then he's in with a great chance. The other horse that's been targeted for this race, the Syed Bin Sarour horse. Syed Bin Sarour's been a bit quiet of late, but he's starting to come back. I think he actually had a winner at Hamilton. He had a winner this week, but he's got natural scenery in this, and he was last seen in Dubai running in World Cup night, I think it was, and didn't disgrace himself, far from it. So he's coming into this race, I think, as I say, very much targeted for this race. Paul Hannigan gets the mount as well, and I think he's around about 12s. So both of them I would be putting on each way. Natural Scenery for Godolphin and Sir Chauvelin for Jim Goldie. So that's my thoughts on tomorrow's big races at Newcastle. Next week we're back to, I was going to say is the July meeting starting at Newmarket. I think there's another week to go until that, but I'll be back previewing what racing there is next week. I think we're actually got Sandown and Haydock next week, if memory serves me well. So that will be Eclipse Day, I presume. So we'll be looking at that. But if you can get along either to Hamilton, Musselburgh or Perth this week, then do so. They'll be glad to see you. As I say, the weather will be set fair this next week. So whatever you're doing this weekend, if you're off the racing, have a good one, or if you're just sitting in the sun having a bet, then best of luck to you. And I'll be back again, same time, same place, next week with more CopaLoad of Racing.